The valley was quiet. Dawn light reflected off the crystal leaves and shimmered across the rivers, turning Draxus 9 into a world of gold and blue. Rex stood on the edge of the cliffs with Nova hovering beside him, scanning the horizon. "They're coming," Nova said, its tone tense but calm. "Galactic Council patrol ships approaching orbit. Drones will follow soon." Rex didn't flinch. "Then we better make sure they don't find this place," and he said, "This valley isn't just my home anymore. It's theirs too." Arena, Lyra, and Sarah emerged from the cave behind him. Their luminous skin glowed softly in the morning light. Arena's voice was firm yet calm. "You are prepared to face them, human?" Rex gave a half smile. "Not face them. Outsmart them." The plan of Light Rex and the Elunari had spent weeks understanding each other's technology. Human ingenuity and Elunari light resonance could create wonders. The valley's machines could manipulate energy, store it, and redirect it, something the Council had never seen. "Here's what we'll do," Rex said, pointing at a holographic map of the valley projected from Nova. "We'll hide the energy sources, create false signals, and confuse their drones. By the time they realize something's there, they'll already be lost." Arena nodded slowly. "We can bend the light, hide the valley in plain sight, but their sensors are advanced. Mistakes are dangerous." "We won't make mistakes," Rex said confidently. "We have patience. And humans are stubborn." Lyra stepped forward, curiosity shining in her eyes. "Will we need to fight?" Rex shook his head. "No. We fight only with our brains, our tricks, and our light." Sarah, who had been quiet, added softly, "Then let us begin." The hidden defenses for days they worked. Rex scavenged parts from his crashed ship and old council debris hidden in the valley. Using Nova's guidance, he built light projectors, power amplifiers, and signal decoys. The Elunari synchronized their energy with the machines. Streams of soft, glowing light pulsed along the river and crystal trees. Patterns shifted continuously, reflecting off surfaces in a way that would confuse any scanning device. "This is beautiful," Lyra whispered as a beam of golden light bent across the valley. "Beauty can save lives," Rex said, tightening a connection in the projector. "Sometimes it's the quiet things that protect us best." By the third day, their work was complete. The valley was no longer just a hidden refuge. It was a living illusion. From orbit, it appeared as empty dunes. Even drones flying over could not detect the true energy or life forms within. Nova hovered beside Rex. "I must admit, Captain, your plan is genius. I haven't seen human engineering like this before." Rex smirked. "Stick around. It gets better." The arrival of the drones happened at sunrise. The twin suns reflected off the dunes, casting long shadows. From the sky, tiny black dots appeared, and the Council's observation drones. "Remember," Rex said calmly, "we are invisible. They see nothing. We just guide them." The drones scanned the dunes, whirring and beeping. Nova projected holographic signals far from the valley, leading them in endless circles. The light fields from the Elunari bent their sensors, showing empty sand where rivers flowed and forests stood. Rex watched, a small smile on his face. Like chasing shadows in a hall of mirrors, Arena, glowing softly, concentrated her energy. The crystal trees bent slightly, directing beams of light into the sky to create false positions. The drones followed these signals, moving away from the real valley. Lyra giggled. "They think the valley is here. Or maybe they're... or nowhere at all," Sarah added. "They will never find it." "Not while we are ready," Rex nodded. "Good. Now let's make sure they never forget it." The Council underestimates humanity back in orbit. The Council officers stared at their monitors. "Our scans show energy fluctuations," said a tall, thin alien with blue scales. "But no life." "What is happening?" Another officer replied. "They must be illusions. Human or Elunari? We cannot tell." "Dispatch more drones." The ships released hundreds of drones. They hovered over the dunes, scanning, probing, and sending signals back. But every attempt led them into a maze of reflected light and false signals. Rex, standing with Arena, whispered, "They think they're smart, but they don't know humans never give up. And we're not just human, we're human with Elunari magic." Nova floated near his shoulder. "Magic? I prefer logic, but I will allow poetic license." Rex laughed quietly. "Call it whatever you like. It works." Discovery of the hidden vault while the drones circled endlessly, Rex decided it was time to explore further. The old vault he had found in Part 1 still remained partially covered in sand. He and Irina went there carefully, sensing that the council might find it eventually. Inside, the walls were covered with glowing inscriptions. Strange devices hummed faintly, as if waiting for someone to activate them. "This is a memory vault," Irina explained. "It holds records of our history, our technology, our art." The council tried to erase it. Rex ran his fingers along the panels. "They always underestimate the human curiosity," he said softly. "Give us a puzzle, we will solve it." With Irina's guidance, Rex activated one of the devices. A holographic projection appeared, showing the Elunari civilization in its prime. Shining cities, glowing rivers, and enormous crystal towers. The council's fleets hovered near their planets, declaring war, while the Elunari never fought, only tried to protect life. Rex's eyes hardened. "They wanted to erase you completely, and they thought they could." Irina nodded. "And yet, here you are, human, alive." Rex smiled faintly. "And you're still alive too. That counts for something." Learning from each other days past, Rex taught the Elunari about human tactics, engineering, and communication. They taught him about light resonance, energy storage, and the ways of the old galaxy. Together, they combined knowledge and creativity. They built small floating platforms powered by light energy, which could move silently over the valley. They created devices to scan incoming threats without being detected. "This is amazing," Lyra said, flying on a light platform for the first time. "It feels like flying on dreams." Rex laughed. "That's the idea. Humans and Elunari, dreamers, builders, problem solvers." Sarah, usually quiet, finally smiled. "I see now why humans survive. Not by strength, but by thinking, adapting, and believing in something greater than fear." Rex nodded. "Exactly. And right now, we survive together." The council realizes the valley exists one evening. Nova's sensors detected a change in the drone's behavior. They were stopping at the edge of the dunes, scanning more carefully. "They're suspicious," Nova said. "Something is different," Rex frowned. "Then we need to step up the illusions." Using his combined knowledge with Irina, he activated a network of light projectors. Beams stretched across the dunes, creating images of shifting rivers, false forests, and distant valleys that didn't exist. The drones followed the false signals, but their programming made them report signs of life. The council officers in orbit grew alarmed. "This is impossible," one cried. "Our scans show life, but we see nothing. How is this happening?" Rex watched from the cliffs, smiling. "Because humans don't quit, and Elunari never forget." Nova floated near him. "Captain, it's almost poetic." "Poetic and effective," Rex said. A message to Earth while the council struggled. Rex decided it was time to send a message. Using Nova and some hidden satellites, he transmitted encrypted coordinates and a short summary to Earth's fleets. The council lied. "Draxus 9 is alive. The Elunari survived. The council tried to erase them. We are hiding them. Help will come." He knew the message might never reach them, but it had to be sent. If humans and Elunari could unite, the council would face a new reality, one they could not ignore. Irina watched him send the message, her glowing eyes reflecting admiration. "You risk yourself for others again," she said softly. Rex shrugged. "Humans do that sometimes. Not because we have to, but because we care." A peaceful moment. Before the storm for several days, the valley remained quiet. Rex and the Elunari explored deeper caves, learned more about their history, and prepared for any threat. They trained together, but never with violence, always with strategy, light manipulation, and clever deception. One evening, Irina stood beside Rex as the twin suns set. "You came here to die," she said softly, "but you brought hope instead." Rex looked at her, then at the valley below. "Maybe that's the point. We don't always get to choose where we land, but we choose what we do next." Lyra giggled, flying above the river on a light platform. "Then let's make the best of it." Sarah nodded quietly, her soft smile reflecting in the water. Together, a new beginning, the council drones finally retreated, confused and unable to locate the true valley. Draxus 9 appeared empty again, just as the council wanted, but Rex knew the truth. He had survived what should have been his death. He had found life where none was supposed to exist. and he had discovered allies in a world that the galaxy thought was gone forever. "This is just the beginning," Rex said to Nova, who hovered nearby. Nova beeped affirmatively. "Yes, Captain. Humans survive, and now, so do the Elunari." Rex smiled, looking at Arena and the others. "Then let's make sure the universe remembers one thing. We don't vanish quietly. We don't surrender. We live, we adapt, and we shine, brighter than anyone expects." As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, their light reflected off the valley's rivers and crystal trees, casting a golden glow over the hidden paradise. Draxus 9 was alive, hidden and safe, for now. The meeting room of the Galactic Council was filled with cold light and silent faces. Tall alien delegates sat behind floating panels, their holographic eyes fixed on a single human standing in the middle of the hall. Captain Rex Carter. He stood straight, his uniform torn at one shoulder, his jaw tight but calm. The council speaker, a tall creature with silver skin and a calm but sharp voice, spoke first. "Captain Carter, your actions in the Vornis sector have caused political imbalance." Rex didn't reply. He knew what that meant. It meant that he had embarrassed them. Humans were still new in the galaxy. They were fast learners, bold, and had already gained a reputation for doing the impossible. But the old species, the ones who ruled for centuries, didn't like that. "You interfered with a pirate blockade," the speaker continued. "You cost the council resources and you ignored protocol." Rex finally looked up. "I saved 300 lives," he said quietly. "And the trade route." "You're welcome." The chamber filled with whispers. Some delegates turned away. Others smiled bitterly. The speaker's tone grew colder. "You are reckless, human. Your kind doesn't understand diplomacy. The council has decided to assign you to a long-term observation post." On Draxus 9, Rex frowned. He had never heard of that planet. "Observation of what?" The speaker's eyes gleamed. "That is classified. You will depart tomorrow, alone." Rex understood. It wasn't an assignment. It was exile. He smiled faintly, almost amused. "You're sending me to die quietly, aren't you?" No one answered. The council chamber went silent. He gave a small salute, turned, and walked out. His boots echoed across the marble floor until the doors shut behind him. The journey to nowhere. The next morning, Rex stood in the hangar of his small exploration ship, the Horizon Wind. His companion, a hovering drone named Nova, circled him, scanning the cargo hold. "Destination Draxus 9, Nova chirped in its playful metallic voice. "Uncharted, extreme weather, no life detected." "Sounds like a dream vacation," Rex chuckled. "Pack sunscreen just in case." The ship lifted off, breaking through the blue glow of the council's orbital city. Stars stretched into long silver lines as they entered hyperspace. For days there was only silence. Rex spent his time reading old Earth novels, cleaning equipment, and listening to Nova complain about boredom. "You know," Nova said once, "humans have a habit of surviving impossible things. Maybe you'll turn this desert rock into a paradise." Rex smiled slightly. "Let's hope it's got sand that listens." After 2 weeks of travel, Draxus 9 appeared on the screen, a swirling golden sphere wrapped in dust storms and faint green lights near the poles. The sensors showed no life. "Looks peaceful," Nova said dryly. "Yeah," Rex replied. "Too peaceful." The ship entered the atmosphere, shaking violently. The wind screamed across the hull, lightning flashing like claws. Then suddenly, a loud explosion. "Engine failure," Nova shouted. "Power cells down!" "Brace yourself," Rex yelled. The ship spun out of control, crashing through clouds of golden dust. It hit the sand with a thunderous boom and slid across the dunes before coming to a stop near a canyon. For a moment, there was silence. Then the sound of metal groaning. Rex coughed, pushing open the hatch. His face was covered in dust, but he was alive. The sun above was blinding, twin orbs glowing in a red sky. "Well," he muttered, "at least they didn't send me to the cold." Nova floated beside him, slightly bent but still functional. "Minor damage. Major boredom ahead." The desert world days passed. Rex built a small shelter using wreckage from his ship. He collected data, tried to repair communication systems, and searched for water. But the planet was strange. The dunes weren't just sand. They shimmered faintly like they were alive. Sometimes he thought he heard faint echoes in the wind like whispers. Every night he sat by a small fire, staring at the twin moons. Nova hovered silently beside him, its blue light softly glowing. "You think they'll come back for us?" Nova asked once. Rex shook his head. They never meant to. But he wasn't bitter. He had spent his life facing impossible odds. This was just another one. One morning, while exploring further from his camp, he found something odd. Footprints. Not his own. They were light, delicate, and led toward the east. "Nova," he said slowly. "What do you make of that?" The drone scanned the tracks. "Organic, humanoid, not yours." "Fascinating. I thought this place was empty." "So did I." They followed the trail for hours until the desert gave way to something entirely new. A valley hidden between high cliffs, glowing faintly with green light. When Rex stepped through the narrow passage, he froze in awe. The air was fresh. There were trees. Not like earth trees, but tall crystal-like structures covered in glowing leaves. Blue rivers flowed quietly, and flowers with silver petals moved gently in the wind. It was like walking into a dream. This isn't possible," Nova whispered. "No record of vegetation." Rex knelt beside the river, touching the water. It was cool and real. He drank a handful. Maybe the council's sensors missed something. Then he heard a sound, a soft melodic hum. He turned quickly. From behind the crystal trees, 3 figures stepped out. They were tall and graceful, their skin glowing faintly in shades of blue, gold, and violet. Their eyes shone like stars, and their hair flowed like silk. They looked curious, cautious, but not afraid. Nova beeped rapidly. "Unknown species detected. Language unknown." One of the figures raised her hand. Her voice was soft and unsure. "You are human?" Rex blinked in surprise. "You speak Galactic Basic?" She nodded slowly. "Little. Learned long ago." He smiled gently. "Then yeah, I'm human. Name's Rex." The woman looked back at the other 2, who whispered in a melodic language. Then she stepped forward. "I am Arena. This is Lyra and Sarah. You not with council?" Rex shook his head. "Not anymore." The expression on her face changed from curiosity to something like sadness. "Good, council. Destroy our people." Rex felt a chill. "Your people? You mean there were more of you here?" Arena nodded slowly. "Long ago, before they came." She looked up at the sky, her glowing eyes reflecting pain. Rex understood without more words. The Galactic Council had lied. Draxus 9 wasn't empty. It was the grave of a civilization they had wiped away. The hidden valley arena led Rex to their home, a network of crystal caves filled with light and warmth. Strange symbols glowed on the walls. It was beautiful and quiet, like a memory of a great city long gone. They gave him food. Fruit that shimmered faintly, water that tasted like fresh rain. For the first time since his exile, Rex felt alive. Over the next few days, he learned more about them. The 3 women were descendants of an ancient race called the Elunari, once known for their light-based technology and peaceful culture. The council had declared them extinct centuries ago, but they had survived, hiding deep within this valley, away from scanners and records. Arena was the leader, wise, calm, and curious about humans. Lyra was cheerful, always asking questions about Earth. Sarah was quiet and cautious, often observing from a distance. Rex told them stories of his home, of oceans, rain, music, and laughter. They listened with wide eyes as if hearing legends. "Your world sounds like light," Arena said softly one night as they sat near the river. "Sometimes it is," Rex replied with a smile. "Sometimes it's just noisy and full of people arguing." She laughed gently, a sound like wind chimes. The truth beneath the sand one evening, Nova hovered over a cracked pillar near the cave entrance. Its sensors beeped. "Captain, I think I found something." Rex walked over. Beneath the sand, hidden under a layer of crystal dust, was a metal panel covered with the same glowing symbols. "It's some kind of door," he murmured. Arena's expression darkened. "Old vault, forbidden holds memory of war." Rex looked at her, then at the panel. "The Council's war?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, they feared us. Said we used light as weapon, but we only used it for healing. For life." Rex's jaw tightened. He had seen the Council's hypocrisy before, but never like this. He stood quietly for a while, then said, They sent me here to die. Maybe they wanted to make sure no one ever found you. Arena looked at him with concern. You should not have come. Too late for that, he said simply. I'm here now. That night, Rex sat alone near the valley's edge, looking up at the stars. The twin moons reflected in his eyes. Nova hovered beside him silently. You're thinking, Nova said. Yeah, about how small we look up there, he replied, and how big the lies can get. A signal in the sky days turned into weeks. Rex helped repair some of the ancient Illuminari machines. He used parts from his crashed ship to rebuild their energy converters. In return, the Illuminari taught him about light resonance, a way to store power using crystals instead of metal. Life began to feel normal again. But one evening, while Nova was scanning the upper atmosphere, it suddenly started beeping loudly. Captain, transmission detected. Rex's heart skipped. From who? Unknown source. Wait, Nova paused. Its tone changed. It's from orbit. Galactic Council patrol ship. Message is encrypted but repeating one line. Unregistered energy detected. Deploy observation drones. Rex felt a chill. They found us. Arena came closer, her glowing skin dimming with worry. What does it mean? They're coming, he said quietly. They think I'm dead, but now they've found energy signals. They'll send drones to check. If they see this valley, they will finish what they started, she whispered. Rex nodded grimly. Then we can't let them. Rex Lou,